Hey folks, it's Patriot Nurse. Thanks for joining me today. In this video, we're going to discuss the new numbers that have come out regarding taxation, comparing that number Americans are paying in tax dollars versus how much they're spending on food, clothing, and healthcare combined. It is staggering. Friends, if you're new to the channel, thanks for being here. On the Patriot Nurse channel, we discuss general preparedness through the lens of history and apply those principles to the present through our analysis of current events. Friends, the numbers here, according to this article, which I'm going to link for you in the description box below, the numbers here are staggering. CNS News reports that Americans spent more on taxes in 2021 than on food, clothing, and healthcare combined. So the numbers here, for those of you who are big into the actual nitty-gritty, $16,729 per consumer in total taxes between state, local, fed, sales tax, etc. So people spent, on average, over almost $17,000 in taxes. But they only spent $15,500 roughly on food, clothing, and healthcare. So again, I want to drive this home. It is more expensive for people to pay taxes to the feds in particular, who are wasting their money. More than half, it looks here, of the total taxation that was represented was to the federal government. People are paying more in taxes than they are to live. Of that, nearly, $16,000, $16,729, $8,500 of it went to the feds. So 50% of that overall taxation went to the federal government, and then rest in Social Security and in state and local taxes, property taxes, etc. But the bottom line is that it is costing people more to placate a wicked federal government to keep paying them off. Because let's face it here, taxation is extortion when it comes from the feds. What are you going to do if you decide that you're going to protest their taxation? They're going to either weaponize the IRS, take your stuff, freeze your assets in your account, revoke your passport, or they could sic the feds on you who are now armed. That's comforting. Although considering the general abysmal status of their competency with firearms, it doesn't really scare me, and I don't particularly feel threatened about that part. But when it comes right down to it, friends, you are looking at the nitty-gritty numbers and accounting of tyranny. This is the accounting of tyranny. When the feds are taking more, and overall tax structure is taking more from people than what it costs to feed themselves and clothe themselves and pay for health care, you've got a tyrannical system, and it's never enough for them. They want more, which is why Joe Biden announced under his administration that they're going to hire, 86,000 more IRS agents to try and weaponize again the federal government against small businesses and conservative people, conservative business owners. Look, here's the bottom line. This is where this is going inexorably. The rest of the world has been sending, particularly the rest of Central and South America, has been sending people here into the United States. Some of them undoubtedly just want to live and work and be left alone. But the issue is that when those people are targeted by the Democrat Party to be placed on their voting rolls, then they're also told about all the goodies that they get at the cost of the taxpayers footing the bill. So the rest of the world is sending their people here to siphon off the wealth of the natural-born American citizen and legally naturalized citizens who do pay their taxes. So that drain has been happening. The feds want more money so they can spend a bunch of more billions of dollars on their war machines to perpetuate this empire, so they're going to continue raising taxes. They're not going to curtail taxes. This is not going to get any better. They're only going to want more. So what's going to happen is over the next 5 years, you're going to see massive human capital flights and intellectual capital leave this country. Because this is not even representative of the quote-unquote top 1%, which if you look at who the top 1% is, it's people who run standard small family businesses. If you are anyone other than an hourly wage employee or somebody who earns, under $50,000 a year roughly, then you're considered to be the rich. And when you look at household incomes, like two parents working to try and pay the bills, their gross income qualifies them as rich, which by default means that the government is going to demand even more. So the next step here is that people are going to leave. People are going to leave. There are lots of places that you can go in this world. And, I don't fault people for it. I know a lot of people might say like, oh, it's anti-American to leave. No, I'll tell you what's anti-American: capitulating to a government whose taxes are tyrannical. That's anti-American. And you got to ask yourself, like, if you want to live compatibly with your principles, if your principles are low taxation, freedom from tyranny, freedom from government, then this iteration of the United States is the furthest thing from American that you could possibly think of. It is woefully inept. It is increasingly becoming more and more invasive and oppressive to people. This is oppressive taxation. When it costs more to pay off the tax man than it does to feed, clothe, and care for yourself, that is tyranny. So keep this in mind. Going into the midterms, I anticipate, again, that this is going to be choppy waters. Here's the bottom line, guys. We've got so many people that are invading our southern border. They don't pay taxes. And the people say, oh, that's a misnomer. They don't pay taxes. They pay their fair share of taxes. Nonsense. They may pay sales tax. They may pay taxes associated with reported income. But the freest people in this nation are illegal immigrants. And I'll tell you why. Because it's a cash run economy for the most part. Day laborers who are paid in cash don't have reportable income. And they still, when they get sick, go to the ER and they get cared for and they don't have to pay for that. You're not going to, in the ER, deny someone as a nurse or a doctor. They're not going to deny care to people based on their ability to pay, particularly if they don't speak English. They get their stuff paid for. And where do you send the bill? If you don't have a residence on file and you don't have any type of paper trail, then how in the world are they going to collect on services rendered? They're not. So we are working as people who are tax-paying United States citizens. Our money is being taken out of the mouths, out of the food of the mouths of our children, and out of the clothes on their back to pay for illegal immigrants to have health care, to get free rent, and to have services and then show up and vote in places like California and other places that don't have voter ID. We are paying for that. We are also paying to arm the world and to subsidize war internationally. We are also paying to destroy sovereign countries and to disrupt their political processes for the end game of the military-industrial complex in the United States war machine. That's what the CIA does. We're getting to a point here where we're not going to be able to swing back from this. And wise people who have means, historically, always leave. And when you consider that we got here as the children of people who immigrated legally to this country, we got here because our ancestors previously said, I'm not sitting around for this world to be destroyed around me. I'm getting out here. This is going to happen again, regardless of your political affiliation. People with means who can put two and two together, who are tired of having 30 to 40% of their income stolen from them under the threat of incarceration and or asset seizure from the feds, they're finally going to say enough is enough and they're going to leave. There are plenty of places around the world to go that do not tax you as much as the United States. I got news for you guys. If you have run a small business or you've done some math, or those of you who are in bookkeeping or accounting, you know just how bad a deal it is to be here in the United States and pay tax-wise. We have some of the highest tax burden of any of the nations on the planet. Also, by the way, did you know that this federal government, the same one right now that's taking more money away from people, literally taking food out of the mouths of children and taking clothes off of their backs, this same federal government, it didn't used to be this way, but it is now. This federal government views that you and all of your income as an American citizen born here are taxable regardless of where you live on the planet. You're a debt slave from the moment that you're born, unless you renounce your citizenship. And that's it. And even then, they have exit penalties for it. These people are wicked, man. And the numbers here and the data, if you needed any other proof about just how despotic they have become, the data is right here in front of you, that they are taking more money from people in taxes overall than what people are spending on food, healthcare, and clothing. Again, I'll put that link in the description box below so that you can follow along with the article for yourself. Folks, these are rough times that we're going to be heading into. And historically, times like this, like what you're seeing, we are going to experience an iteration of some type of political strain that could ultimately culminate in violent revolution. That is just the facts of it. When people are confronted with realities like this, they will push back. The question is, how is that pushback going to be couched? Oftentimes when people, for instance, with the housing market, I did a video just recently, a few days ago, about the housing crisis. When people feel like there is no capability for redress of grievances and nobody cares about them, and they're spending everything that they have just to tread water, and then it's still not enough, they are ripe for manipulation from political entities that will couch populist ideals in socialist dogma. So be prepared for this. And if you want really a strategy and a plan that is historically literate, that is underpinned by lessons learned from the generations that have gone before, you will embrace self-sufficiency, or at least trying to store up and cover your bases in the big three: beans, bullets, and band-aids. Because we know historically, war, famine, and disease are the three things that serve as catalysts for major societal change and political upheaval. And we are looking at this right now. So I encourage you, friends, make training a priority this year. If you have not gotten out to a class or you haven't taken my online class, let me encourage you to do that. If you want to train with me to get your medical area covered, I've got a 4-hour class online. It's 4 hours, $129. You can find that link down below. But also I teach in-person classes as well to help you decrease your dependency upon these people, because healthcare spending represents, for the average person here, for the average consumer unit, $5,500 per year. My class, my 4-person class right now is less than $1,100. And so that is probably going to go up next year. Actually, I can almost guarantee you, because my cost of doing business has increased 30%. I did the math. It's probably more and will be more by the end of Q4. So friends, if you can get in this year, I'd recommend you do it. I'm teaching in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and then also Keller, Texas this year. And the full schedule is at the website, thepatriotnurse.com. Lord willing, I'll be unveiling the 2023 schedule here soon. Friends, hold on. It's going to be interesting times. I hope the video was helpful for y'all. If you did enjoy the video, please subscribe to me here on YouTube. You can also stay with me and support me on Patreon, Subscribestar, Cryptocurrency, and PayPal. I have links down below. Folks, be diligent. Be strong, and be strengthened. Carry forth in confidence and in hope. We know how it ends. We know how it ends. For now, it's Patriot Nurse signing off, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.